Over the past couple years, I've done a lot of work to try to improve my lighting with my video production, and this has become even more important as I move to a fancy production Cinecam like what I'm shooting on now, my Ursa Mini Pro. Lighting is one of the most important aspects of video production, next to audio. With that, I have very much upgraded through the ranks of lighting situations, from my generic softbox CFL bulb kits to my little newer LED panels, and my main key light that I typically use now is the Aputure C120D. It is a 6,000 Kelvin daylight temperature light with a Bowens mount, and I have the mini light dome and the big light dome. I started with the mini, I've moved to the big one, but the big one has a lot of problems, so I'm waiting on a back order of the Light Dome V2. But the light has been incredible. It's super color accurate. It gets really, really bright. I can use the light domes to get it super soft to fall off on my face and look really nice. And it's overall just a fantastic light. The problem is it's very expensive. I want more, but I don't really have the budget for it. Now, this light is actually fairly cheap if we're talking in terms of the overall like production standpoint of all production gear is super expensive, and this is on the cheap end for it, but for someone with a low budget making YouTube videos like myself, I can't afford to go buy a bunch of $800 to $1,000 lights to kit out my studio with multiples. But I have found an alternative. This has actually been fairly popular among some of the budget filmmaker kind of YouTubers already, but it's been out of stock, and I've been super stoked to get mine in. And we're gonna check it out today, and it has some potential issues that we're going to kind of root out as we're using it, but I'm super stoked to check it out. I ordered this at the same time as I ordered the Light Dome V2 for the C120D. Well, it's for the C120D Mark II. There is actually a newer version of it, but I'm just gonna use it on my V1 because I can. And this has come back in stock. The Light Dome has not. This is the Godox SL-60W. This is the daylight temperature white LED light. And this is basically a knockoff of the Aputure C120D. It's a, cheaper version from a generic brand. And it's supposed to perform very similarly, although there is some stuff we have to watch out for. So we've got some Chinese warranty information, instruction manual. This is the power cord? Huh. Look at this lengthy power cord. This is still the standard like C15 computer power cord, but it's super long. Much longer than the one Aputure includes. It comes with a remote. That's impressive. A lot of these cheaper lights don't actually come with remotes. Pretty cool. Styrofoam is the worst. Oh, it's all over this. And I gotta keep it away from my cats, because it can cats will want to try to eat it or scratch at it, and it can kill them if they swallow it. Get off my fingers. I am covered in this stuff. Holy cow. Get off of me. So it comes with a basic reflector dish. It is again Bowens mount, so it uses a lot of standard accessories. This is a basic reflector dish just to send a lot of light in one place. I don't know how much I'll use that, although I might depending on the scenario. I don't currently have a Fresnel adapter or anything like that for this. I just have the light domes, but the focusing thing will be nice. So this looks fairly similar to the Aputure light. Now, this is interesting. There you go. You can see the giant light chip behind the protective thing and the massive heatsink for it. A complaint that I've heard is that the fan inside is not as quiet as Aputure's. Aputure's fan, you can sort of hear it if you put your ear up to it, but it doesn't get very loud, whereas this one could become audible, and you can actually replace it with an Octuo one with a simple mod, which we'll probably be doing on a live stream at some point at twitch.tv/EposVox, but I don't actually see any ventilation holes or anything like that, so that almost makes me worried I got the wrong one for some reason. But it's got a handle at the top, Bowens mount, nice metal-ish construction, power input, and it's just direct power, no big bulky power brick like comes with the Aputure. That does mean if something goes wrong with the power supply, it will require internal repairs instead of just replacing the power brick, but that's pretty cool. We've got control dial, LED, and power button, as well as group channel control for the Wi-Fi for the remote. Well, it's not Wi-Fi, but wireless. It's got this nice beefy locking handle to lock the angle in place, which is really good. This video is going so well. Having this giant handle to lock it in place here is really nice because the locking adapter for the Aputure light is actually not very great for the Mark 1. The Mark 2 improves this a lot. So here's our nice beefy light. We need to do 2 tests before I fully put this into production and get rid of the packaging and things like that. Check the fan noise, see if we're gonna fan mod it. And then number 2 is to see if it flickers at high refresh rates, because apparently some of the lights, if you have it at not 100% brightness at high refresh rates, it can end up flickering on camera, which is a problem, not good for video. So this is apparently an inconsistent issue, and these have been out of stock for a while, so maybe they made an improvement. I'm gonna test that, and then we're gonna get this set up and see if we can start shooting with it and see if it's performing for us as well as we would expect from a C120D knockoff. All right, so I have my camera set to 60 FPS, and then the light is set to 15-ish% brightness at the moment. I will notice that I can definitely hear the fan at a distance. I don't know that it would be audible enough to pick up in microphone recordings or anything like that when the microphone isn't right next to the light as it is right now. But from the second I kicked it on, I do hear it, and it does have a temperature readout though of what the temperature is, which is pretty cool and something the Aputure light doesn't have. So again, and I am just going to cycle through shutter speeds here, and we'll see. I probably won't be able to notice until I get to editing, but we will see if we get any sort of flickering. So this is 1/60, 1/80, 1/100, 125, 160. I'm going to crank up the ISO, 200, 250th, 320th, 400th. I'm going to crank up the brightness a little bit. Actually, I'm going to turn up my aperture. So this is 1/400th of a second, 1/500th, 1/640th, 1/800th, 1/1000th, 1/1300th, 1600th, 2000th. At this point, these are like stupid shutter speeds. So yeah, no flickering as far as I can tell on the light, zooming in on during editing and things like that at 60 FPS at crazy shutter speeds. I'll do additional testing and reconfirm before this video goes live with my Ursa Mini Pro at 120 FPS. But so far I saw no flickering whatsoever. This light is pretty freaking cool, and I'm so glad I was able to pick one up. And honestly, I'm gonna pick up a few more. Like the $600 to $800 that you would spend on just the V1 of the C120D, the V2 is like $1,000 to $1,200. You can literally kit out an entire studio with multiple of these, and that's a pretty insane value. And I honestly don't think I could recommend another light over this, especially for the price for a standard key light, especially when you can pick up soft boxes or light domes and reflectors, and it came with a reflector. I just knocked it over, and even the little protector hood that it came with kind of works as a little focusing beam. Now, there's no real reflectors in here, so it's kind of absorbing a lot of the light, but you do have a light hole here where you can get a kind of focused light beam out of this if you just need something and don't have barn doors. I don't, but it's a standard Bowens mount, S mount. You can put on any sort of, typical professional photo accessories for that kind of stuff. I have the Aputure mini light dome with the grid on it right now, and I have it at 74% brightness, full f2.0 on my lens here, and then I have an ND filter on just so I can keep from overexposing myself. And IMO, it looks really freaking good. I am pretty happy with it, and I could attach the full light dome that just doesn't fit in the space, and the reflector it comes with is even pretty useful for just like casting a lot of light in one direction or using it for bounce lighting or something like that. And the fact that you get all of this information readout on the remote for what percentage is at, what the color temperature is. I'm not sure why it has a color temperature, because I think this remote is a generic remote meant for other lights as well, because it has color temperature control. But as far as I am aware on the specs page of the light, it comes with, or it's just a 5600 Kelvin solid daylight temperature light. But this lets it drop down to 3300. I did not really see any change on the light. So I think this remote is meant for other things. I also noted on the product page, it says the remote takes 3 AAA. It takes 2 for the one that I got with. So it makes me think that they're just kind of shipping generic remotes with this. Anyway, the fact that you get all this readout about the battery of your remote and the percentage of the brightness and things like that, and you have an LCD screen for that on the back of the light, it's a lot more value than what the Aputure remote gives you. Really good stuff there. And the fact that you don't need the giant clunky control box and power brick running to this thing, just one long cable, is really freaking nice. The only thing is I can audibly hear that fan. That fan sounds like a small laptop or a small computer running. It is pretty loud. I do have my microphone fairly close to it in this setup here. It's not directly on top of it, but it's closer than I am to the fan. So we will see if it gets picked up in the audio. But I will be doing a fan mod for it, and I'll probably be doing that in a live stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/EposVox. I'll maybe spin it into a video, but for now I'll just be doing it in a live stream. I will point you to a video of someone else who I watch who did a fan mod for it. You can just get, I think it's a 90 millimeter, I could be wrong, but I think it's a 90 millimeter Noctua fan you throw in there, because Noctua fans are really freaking quiet. You got to do a little bit of cable swapping to get the fan to get the right kind of power, but otherwise it's really great. So this is the Godox SL-60W daylight temperature key light, basically a knockoff Aputure C120D for almost 1/8 of the cost. Pretty freaking insane. This is my go-to light recommendation if you're looking for a key light at the moment. By far, this will look and perform, especially once you get a softbox or light dome on it, far better than any LED panel. And it's just really freaking cool. I've been loving my C120D. This one's even better. I am stoked on this light. I do have a really cool LED panel set I will be reviewing soon, however. That is kind of for a different purpose. But that's it for me for this video. Just wanted to show this off, nothing too deep. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more tech education. I'm EposVox, here to make tech easier and more fun, and sometimes exploring production gear. I'm trying to do a lot more of that this year. I'll see you in the next one.